I heard someone say that tradition, and it's not always true, but the expression is tradition is a solution to a problem we forgot about. Like we invented
Yeah.
this to address that.
Yeah.
So you'll see someone go like, monogamy, it doesn't make any sense. It's not biological. And it's like, yeah, society's invented monogamy so people would stop killing each
For
other
the sake of order.
yeah, or so things were fair.
Yeah.
Or because it was making people so profoundly unhappy.
Yeah.
And they're choosing one form of unhappiness for another. One, it's not always perfect, and no one is saying they're good solutions, but it's addressing a root cause.
Yeah.
And you rip out the tradition or the assumption at your peril if you haven't explored why we slowly evolved or developed that
Can we
thing.
go on that tangent though, which is really interesting because it's a conversation I've been having with myself and like with friends where I think a lot of so I'm releasing my 5th book, and I think a lot of that even being possible is directly tied to me being in a long-term relationship
Oh, sure.
and having the stability of being with one person and having enough satisfaction where I'm not looking at other places, and like having that part of my mind just like be chilled out so that I can just focus.
Well, I hate the idea that to
yeah.
be successful at what you do, you have to be like a monster, or you
Yeah.
have to be this sort of juvenile arrested development,
Yeah.
emotionally immature person. There are obviously a number of artists and entrepreneurs and athletes who sort of personify
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I tend to find either that they're the exception that prove the rule, or it was immensely expensive for them and everyone else involved. So it seems like one fueled the other, but actually it was more suppressing than it was
Yeah.
empowering. And I wouldn't say they were paragons of happiness either.
No, totally. And I've been thinking this in the same lines too, where like the idea of the tortured artist and like that's where and like the epitome of art comes from. It sounds like nonsense to me. It's like I'd rather, I'm curious to see when we're living in this world now where there's so many people actively trying to cultivate self-awareness.
Yeah.
And it's like what art transforms into and reaching these sort of almost like new heights, because it's a special time. Like people are reflecting in so many different ways. Millions of people are, using therapy to their benefit.
Sure.
Millions of people are meditating. Millions of people are reading your books. They're like trying to do some self-analysis. Sure. And I think that's pretty different in terms of like how connected the global community is, and how like, whether you're here or you're in Singapore, you could probably type in like, how can I deal with my anxiety? Like, is there someone I can talk to?
Sure.
And you can find somebody within like 10, 15 miles,
Yeah.
pretty special.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, athletes used to just get by on raw talent.
Yeah.
Or you, even not that long ago, you see pictures of them and they're smoking in the locker room, or they were partying all the night before. Or, I mean, look, baseball players used to play in wool uniforms. So, like, they were obviously good, and the product on the field was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But what we slowly, steadily, we realized, oh, hey, if you play in this fabric versus that fabric, you perform better. Hey, like, the NBA has limited the amount of back-to-back road games because the players play worse when their sleep is disrupted. Like, we just realized these things. And so the idea that like the artist doesn't become professionalized and have to take care of their habits,
Right.
And like when you look at older musicians, they're like the shoe choice they have is because they're worried about their back. They're just they're doing it for like when everyone died at 27 because they OD'd.
Yeah.
What it meant to be a rock star was different than if you can theoretically do it till you're 85. And if your goal is to do it till you're 85, you have to rethink some of your assumptions and your practices. And the idea that you should just be treating your body like a garbage can, and that's going to be conducive to creative expression strikes me as anachronistic.